Welcome back, you guys. We have a pretty interesting build here tonight. Now let me start from the beginning. We have worked on several of the Taurus G3 model slides. Of course, we offer services on the G2C, the PT111, and the G3C model slides as well. And we continuously see the same request come up over and over and over again. And that is, are you gonna do a hive pattern on the Taurus model slide or not? Well, one of the ideas behind it is that they are a little bit more challenging because we have some front serrations, we have some text that's on the side. Of course, some of the models are shorter, some of them, like the G3, are a little bit longer. So we have finally had the opportunity to pick up a G3, and in this particular one, it was a Toro. We figured we would kind of just see how that is in comparison to the other models, as this one is optic ready. So we may discuss that a little bit as this video unfolds towards the end. As we get an optic on it, I may give you a little bit more of my opinion of that as a whole. But let's talk about the work that we are going to be performing, and that is we're going to be running the hive pattern. So one of the things about the hive pattern is, once again, since they're different length slides, some services may be offered on the full size, which is the G3, but may not be offered on the shorter model. So with that being said, it's going to be a lot of a la carte. You can choose a top, you can choose a side, you can choose a cobra nose, you can choose an optic, you can choose, of course, anything like engravings, barrel work, logos. Those are all going to be individually selected options during checkout. So that's kind of how we're going to end up building this on the webpage. Of course, in this particular video, we're going to show it as a whole. So we're going to show you the entire project, what it could look like from what we're starting with is just the factory slide all the way to the top of the line, which would have all of the services on the slide. So guys, we're going to kind of jump into that work. Top hive, we're going to do a side shave. We are going to keep the text on both sides. We're going to work around that. We're going to do a little bit of hive here on the sides. We are planning on doing a cobra nose. We're going to see how that plays out because the hive has to be moved farther forward. So obviously sometimes the patterns are subject to be changed between discussion and work being performed, just due to, I don't know how it's going to lay until we get there. So we may see a cobra nose, we may not. Of course, we are going to put an optic on it. We are going to be replacing the sights with suppressor sights. Have not decided if we're going to be doing barrel work or not. I did send this barrel out for black nitride, so it's already been black nitride coated and it is back in hand, so I just have to make that decision if I want to do some barrel work on it or not. It definitely will be offered to the customers. I'm just not so sure we're going to actually see it in this build video. So guys, let's jump right into cutting the top hive. Then we're going to move on to some of the other work, and let's just kind of see how it comes out in the end. All right, guys, let's take a look and see exactly how this came out in the end. Now that we are back together, the cut work has been performed. I definitely want to go through and talk to you guys about the coloring. We've colored this, which is the third time now. If you've been following us on our Instagram, you will have seen the other variations that we have turned out. Let's just talk about it. So we've got a hive top. We end up going with the black nitride barrel. We have the shave side and the front larger window. I'm not 100% sure we're going to stick with this design or we're going to go with the smaller side window. As this unfolds, we will obviously show the newest design on the webpage when you guys are processing your order. But we're just not sure if we're going to be adjusting this a little bit more. Maybe we'll end up adding a cobra nose. I'm not 100% sure. So there are some things that can still be done. Obviously, if you guys are running with a regular gun, we can do an optic cut. This is the Toro, so we didn't do that. Let's jump into the coloring, as that was one of the big pieces to this puzzle. This is called the Halo. Okay, so this is going to be a new version that we're going to be offering. It's not just a typical battle one with 2 colors. It's actually 4. So we have black, Okay, we've got gold, we've got this green and this blue that end up being a liquid-based color that kind of mature across the project on its own. So what that means is each and every project is gonna look just a little bit different, and they're not all gonna flow the exact same. Much like you get with a battle worn that we would see now, each one looks just a little bit different. Now let's talk about the difficulties that we had with the coloring. So I was kind of going through the process, and you guys, once again, if you've been following along on Instagram, you guys would have seen that. Going through the process of what exactly do I want to do and how do I want to build those colors. And I just really couldn't find what I liked. Now, I ended up coming up with this. I really do like this. I've done this a couple times in the past with some of my other builds, some stuff that you guys probably haven't seen. I work on a lot of things that don't necessarily get posted. And I really like the way that it's working. However, since we've been mixing a couple different brand manufacturers of coatings, because it's not all Cerakote, the colors they are extremely durable. They do not want to come off, but sometimes they don't play well, and they almost get like an orange peel to them. And we are still working through if there's a better way that we should be doing it, then that's how we should be doing it. So you guys aren't really seeing that all that much, but if you look down in these smaller areas down and through here, you can kind of almost see where it's like glazed in there and not really smooth. So we're seeing this on these real tight edges in there. And I'm guessing we're just getting a little bit of pushback from the coloring where it's going into a crevice and it's kind of coming back out, almost like when you would spray with anything that's semi-high pressure. It doesn't always fill in the corner. Sometimes you get a little bit of pushback from the pressure and it comes out and it doesn't fill those tight sockets. We are going to work through that a little bit better. Hopefully over time the coating itself will be much more smooth and everything will look like a glass finish. But once again, this is a new coating that we're offering. I still really like the coating. It's incredibly durable, which is one of the reasons why it is so hard to manipulate the coating to how we want it, because we are mixing a couple different vendors together in order to get the halo type color. This finish is going to only be available on metal parts, so anything that's steel, stainless, aluminum, it can be done, and it cannot be done on plastics just due to the way in which it's being processed. And you are able to find this into the under the additional tab section or additional services field. When you go into our services, you can go down in there, and then you can find this underneath the slide coating services called the Halo. And basically, this is what it's going to be. So it's basically a black undertone, and then we've got some gold, and we've got this greenish blue, aqua-ish, I guess if that's a word, sort of tone overall. I really do like it. I think it's a real mature color. It may not be for everybody, but it's definitely something that would be very specific on a build that you're not going to find anywhere else. So that was one of the reasons why that we had created this. Guys, let's go ahead and put this thing together. I do have the frame. No framework has been done. Let's slide this onto here. And then, of course, we've got a mag empty for those of you that want to see that. And we are all back together. So we'll have a couple of pictures on there of this, how it all looks together as a whole, so you guys can see it a little bit more clear than watching it through the video. Guys, this is going to be set up of like an a la carte, as we had discussed earlier. So you can just get the top hive with the coloring. You can just get a side window if you don't want anything done on the top. Of course, other things like optic cut, barrel engravings, barrel finishes, things like that. Those are always offered. But really, the main service will be the hive on the G3 and the Toro or regular, and on the G3C. So we're also going to have the top hive available on the G3C. I don't know if we're going to end up doing the side windows on the G3C quite yet, because it is significantly shorter. So we're gonna get and work through that and see what we come up with. But overall, really pleased with the way that it looks. If you haven't been following along, I would encourage you to do so. I would encourage that you follow along on our Instagram if you want to go and see some of those other pictures of some of the stuff as these projects unfold and as they mature. Usually you guys will see a full package build here in the end, once everything's put back together. But if you want to see how the stuff unfolds, that's the place to go, is Instagram or Facebook. We've got a really, really big Glock, my Glock, I've got one for myself, Glock build coming up. We've got another one that's already here that's a customer's one, that's an all laser cut one, so that's going to be a wild one. And then we have 2 or 3 that are in the works. We just haven't ironed out all the details on those builds yet. So we have a couple of really big ones that are definitely going to be coming out. They're going to be slowly unfolding on Instagram, then all of a sudden you guys will see them hit when they hit on YouTube all at once, because of the project will have been done at that point. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to use our contacts tab on the webpage. You can fill that form out. You can let us know exactly what you want to have done. We can answer those questions to the best of our ability, and then we can go ahead and get your order placed and get you in through the system. Guys, if you need anything, just let me know.